Hello. It's later than it usually is when I'm out here. It's in the afternoon. But this morning I went outside and I harvested from my garden. I had on a big open bottom t-shirt, a big bulky t-shirt, and I lifted my t-shirt and I filled it first with these Kentucky Wonder Green beans and then with some ripe tomatoes and some cucumbers. And then I went outside and I cut a few flowers. Brought them all back in and set them on this table. But the whole time I was out there harvesting, a phrase ran through my mind, something that we say in church every Sunday: the gifts of God for the people of God. Well, in that particular passage in the Book of Common Prayer, the gifts for God for the people of God is the body and the wine, the blood of Jesus Christ, the sacrament, what people in other congregations may call the Lord's Supper. So for me to say that my harvest is the gifts of God for the people of God may be a little bit sacrilegious, but I don't think so, because I have learned something very important about the Book of Common Prayer. There are many things included in the Book of Common Prayer that I used to just think were just rote words, things that you just say, repeat over and over again, droning and droning. And I used to just half listen to it. But some wonderful things have happened to me, and I am in a process of trying to pick out of what's in the Book of Common Prayer and what's in the Bible, pick out words from those passages that I may have just read past in the previous times of my life. And now I'm trying to see how my own personal prayer might come from those passages. Well, this morning I was outside and I kept hearing in my brain, which may have been nothing more than my brain playing a trick on me. It often does that. I kept hearing the words in my brain: the gifts of God for the people of God. Well, there are two parts of prayer, you see. The one that all of us learn when we're very young, well, most of us, especially if you're a Baptist or some other Christian denomination, you learn that you need to pray. You need to say your prayers. Now, I lay me down to sleep, as we said as children. We need to say our prayers. Bless Mommy, bless Daddy. But there's another, that's us talking. We're talking. But there is another part to prayer: listening, hearing. And I'm afraid that I've just not given that part of my prayer much consideration until just recently. You see, I always thought poo-poo on the people that were saying God spoke to them. They heard his voice. Well, God's never really said anything out loud like, "Hey, Jackie, what'd you have for lunch today?" He has never talked to me like that. Or, "Hey, Jackie, I hear you're having problems. Let's name them." I've never heard him talk like that. But there are times, especially when I'm out in my garden, when I do think that God may be suggesting something to me. Thoughts come to me. When I was a little girl, we sang in our church. See, I didn't grow up as Episcopalian. I grew up as Baptist. My grandmother, my dear, dear grandmother, was Methodist. Her favorite hymn, and it's become mine too, by association, is I come to the garden alone while the dew is still on the roses. Well, I have many gifts from God, singing probably in one of them, but I think that we need to dance out loud and we need to sing out loud, whether God gave us the voice or the dancing feet either. But this morning, just maybe, God was talking back to me. He was telling, oh my gosh, there is a hummingbird right there. If that is not glorious, I don't know what is. He has never sat that close to me before. And that may be God too. I think a lot of things are miraculous. And I see a lot of miraculous things in my garden. And I think that opening our eyes and seeing and opening our minds and hearing are gifts from God. Today, God told me these are the gifts of God for the people of God. And I hope I always remember to say, bless His holy name.